the AI dilemma. Something to chat about. So let's begin. And I will start by defining artificial intelligence. Beginning in the 1950s, when AI meant using computer algorithms to compute forecasts of what might happen, the definition has morphed into something even better as technology advanced. So the definition went to AI becoming unassisted neural learning. That means computer software continuously improves itself by training itself using big data. And the latest is ChatGPT, which is Generative Pre-trained Transformer, a neural network software that constantly teaches itself using enormous data sets. The end result being software that allows users to ask it questions using conversational natural language and getting answers in that same language. Pick up any magazine or newspaper, and you're likely to find articles that mention somewhere in it the impact of artificial intelligence. And I'll mention 3 to illustrate. I had to look no further than page 2 of the April 6th Wall Street Journal to find an article titled, "The Robots Have Finally Come for My Job." It laments how ChatGPT software presents an existential threat to journalists and writers. And last week, after Congress grilled the CEO of the Chinese company TikTok, articles appeared calling for a 6-month pause in the development of ChatGPT. And another article concluded by saying, of course, AI's development should be paused. There should be a moratorium, but 6 months won't be enough. Pause it for years, a couple of years. Call in the World's Council, get everyone involved. Heck, hold a World Congress. But slow this thing down. We are playing with the hottest thing since the discovery of fire. Well, I think fire is an appropriate metaphor for artificial intelligence because fire is the very first technology humans harnessed in a revolutionary way to make life, to improve life. And here's a chronological listing of other revolutionary technological breakthroughs. In prehistoric times, in addition to fire, we have spears for hunting and garments made of skin. And when cities and their ensuing civilizations emerged, along came the wheel for transportation, irrigation, and farming. Think of them as man's first effort to control the environment. Building construction. Think houses and temples and pyramids. And alphabets for writing. And the use of herbs by medicine men for healing the sick. You can think of this as the first healthcare system. Historians consider what I've just listed to be the most important technological developments, and they don't mention any others until the Renaissance, when science emerged, allowing man to develop instruments such as telescopes and clocks. And then came the technologically breathtaking breakthrough in communications, the printing press. The printing press accelerated progress that led to the Enlightenment, and the next big technological breakthrough, the steam engine, that ushered in the Industrial Revolution. And that led to these technological revolutions: the electrical revolution, the transportation revolution, the atomic revolution. Think of the atomic bomb and atomic power. The genetic revolution, that's DNA. the computer revolution, and now the latest, the AI revolution, for which supercomputers, machine learning, and GPT are the breakthroughs. And again, what is GPT? It's an acronym for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. It's an autoregressive algorithmic language developed by Silicon Valley tech companies and released in about 2020. It uses deep learning to produce human-like text. Given an initial text as a prompt, it will produce a text response that continues the conversation. High-tech entrepreneurs worldwide are running with it to develop hardware and software that has the cognitive capacity approaching that of the human brain, and in some places even more so. And the goal is to reach the singularity, which is the breakthrough of a computer that is smarter than the human brain and is self-aware. Using all this as background, what is the dilemma? What is the situation in which a difficult choice has to be made between two or more alternatives, especially when there are ethically good or bad trade-offs? Well, here's the dilemma. GPT may produce computers, software, cyborgs, and androids that will be superior physically, cognitively, and maybe even emotionally to humans. They might make life better for humans, but they might also replace or eliminate us. And you can find many videos showing that AI-empowered software today can produce short stories, poems, painting, and music that is as good as the material created by people artists. I imagine that just about everyone listening has seen movies like The Terminator and others that dramatize the apocalyptic future AI might portend. The scientific community pretty much agrees that reaching the singularity is decades away or even longer. But we have already witnessed some of AI's rewards and risks. Here are some of the rewards: automated factories and manufacturing, which make jobs safer and products cheaper, self-driving trucks and drone delivery, computer-controlled genetic engineering that gives better drugs and cures mental illness by actually rewiring the brain. Chatbots, which at the most basic level are computer programs that simulate and process human conversation, either written or spoken, that allow humans to interact with digital devices as if they were communicating with a real person. Silicon Valley has led the charge to give us chatbots for tutoring students, composing music, painting, and writing poetry or reports, editing documents, and even writing short stories and novels. Well, what are some of the risks? Computer hardware and software will take more jobs away from people. Corporations and governments use AI to predict what we're thinking so we can buy or vote a certain way, and to spy and control us. Think about China's intrusive surveillance network. The military builds smart weapons. Just look at the impact of smart bombs and drones in the Ukrainian war. Genetic engineering makes DNA modifications that lead to viral outbreaks or worse. I won't list more, but you can find other pluses and minuses. And I'll summarize some articles that I found recently. There's one by Jill Lepore, came out of the New Yorker magazine, titled The Data Delusion. And there's a New York Times editorial by Zeynep Tufekci titled, What Would Plato Say About GPT? Then there's the book by Nita Farhani titled The Battle for Your Brain. Well, first to the Data Delusion article. Its takeaway is this. Metaphorically speaking, visualize the world's knowledge placed into a 4-drawer filing cabinet. The top drawer is labeled Mysteries and holds the concepts we understand via faith or religion. The second is labeled Knowledge and holds the things we can understand by using our brain. The third is labeled Numerical and holds the results of calculations and forecasting. And the bottom is labeled Data, the raw numbers, or in today's parlance, bits and bytes. And today people focus too much on the lower drawer, forgetting that the top 2 drawers distinguish the best characteristics of humanity. Next to the article, what Plato would say. Here's the takeaway. Plato mourned the invention of the alphabet. He worried that the use of text would threaten traditional memory-based arts. But he was wrong to fear the written word as the enemy. We would be wrong to think we should resist new technology that allows us to gather information more easily. The way forward is not to just lament supplanted skills, as Plato did, but also to recognize that as more complex skills become essential, our society must equitably educate people to develop them. And then it always goes back to the basics. Value people as people, not just as bundles of skills. And finally, to the book, The Battle for Your Brain. And here's its takeaway. The book emphasizes the legal and constitutional aspects regarding freedom of thought, and it recommends an international approach for setting AI standards. And it exhaustively covers some of the pros, but more cons of wearable devices like the Fit wristband or for the forehead, which detects brain's waves for figuring out your emotional state. And the book it emphasizes the warning that personal neuroneck devices carried by 1 in 5 Americans will soon expose our innermost thoughts to the world, and occasionally scattershot yet insightful reports. And I'll end on a positive note. An MIT article concluded that ChatGPT can help teachers of critical thinking engage students by having a class discussions exploring how this software can enhance Bloom's critical thinking pyramid, which has these 6 levels: create, evaluate, analyze, apply, reply, and remember. So that ends my podcast, which has given you plenty to think about. Please do so if you wish, and then decide what to make of artificial intelligence. And I will say bye-bye until next time.